purpose of this presentation is to explain how we get to restore calm and the pathways to eradicating stress, because there are many different things that we have to do to get rid of stress. And sometimes we can think we just have to do one thing, or one thing is going to solve it, but actually it's not the case, because stress is so deep rooted in us. So we have what I call my pathways to eradicating stress. And there's a saying that all roads lead to Rome. And when we think of that, we think of, say, the center of Rome and lots of different roads leading to the center of Rome. And in this analogy, the center of Rome is the calm. It's the calm, it's the harmony, it's the balance, it's the place where we're wanting to get to more and more and more. But as you can see in this analogy, there's more than one road to that place. And even though if we were traveling to Rome, we might only have to go down one road, when it comes to de-stressing, we actually have to go down all the roads. And our goal is to reach more and more inner peace, harmony, and calm, so that our inner state of ongoing calm is disturbed less and less. And that is a process. It's not something that happens in one go or overnight or even in a few weeks or months. It's a process that we have to chip away at on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. And more we will restore our natural state of peace and inner calm if we do this. But this journey, as I said, is not easy. And it takes commitment, persistence, patience, dedication, effort, skill, specific techniques, energy, time, lots of things. But eventually, these roads will lead to calm. So let's start with what I call the 4 overriding approaches to restoring this inner peace and calm. And by the way, just notice also how I've said restore. It's not about finding it, it's about restoring it, because our natural state is actually to be very, very calm and peaceful and quiet inside. Now, most people will not believe that initially, because it's not been their experience. It's been so long, maybe never, that they have actually experienced that inner state of calm, that they don't even know that it's possible. But this is quite a change in perception when we can understand that we're restoring our calm. We're not trying to create it or find it. And it's very important, therefore, because it helps us to understand what it is that we're going to have to do to restore our peace and calm. What we're going to have to do, therefore, is to take away what is preventing us experiencing our natural state of peace and calm, which is different from going out and trying to find something or create something. So let's look at these 4 overriding approaches. The first one is we have to have an awareness that we're stressed, because initially when people are stressed, they're so used to it and it's so habitual, they don't even know that they're stressed or that it could be different. It's just the norm, that habit of stress has become normal. And once we have this awareness of the stress and actually the discomfort mentally, emotionally, even physically, energetically, that stress creates in us, and that is already a big step, by the way, to have that awareness. Once we have that awareness, then we have to have the desire to change it and the willingness to put in the work to do that. So that is the very first step. And I'm not going to go into the story of how I became aware of my stress habits, because that's a long story, but it was a major light bulb moment when I suddenly realized, even after doing years of personal development work, oh my goodness, I am absolutely addicted to stress. I'm a stress addict. And of course, I've talked about this in other videos, how this habit is set up in very early years due to the trauma that we experience in our early childhood. So we first of all need the awareness and the desire to change. The second thing is, once we've made that decision that yes, I'm stressed and I'm absolutely committed to de-stressing, then one of the things that we have to start working on is reducing anything that creates stress in our life. And there's a lot of things that can apply to. I'm not going to go to drill down into the detail of that now, but there are many, many things which put us into stress, which include our own personal habits, but also things that are happening around us. And we have to reduce the stress in order to reduce the self-harm. And what I mean by self-harm is that whenever we go into the stress response that is actually harming our body energetically, physically, at a fundamental level. And over time, that will build up and then turn into things like symptoms and illness. So we need to work on reduction, taking away. The next thing that we need to do on the other end of the spectrum is we have to increase de-stressing, calming, self-help exercises. So this is only something that we can do ourselves. In actual fact, all of this is what we have to do ourselves. But we have to increase things which restore our natural state of calm. And that is going to mean that we're going to have to learn certain techniques to do that. And then once we've learned those techniques, we're going to have to practice them. And the fourth thing is regular, consistent, ongoing application of everything that I've talked about so far, which is whatever we're doing to reduce the stress and whatever we're doing to increase the calm. We have to do this ongoingly, regularly, consistently, and what I mean by that is daily. It's a daily ongoing practice. We're going to be constantly learning new techniques, deepening our application of what we're learning. It's an ongoing process. So those were the 4 approaches, and now we're going to look at what I call the 4 overriding strategies. And I don't mean specific techniques, and you'll see what I mean when I say 4 strategies. So the first thing that we need to do is emotional management. And there are 3 levels of emotional management. And what I mean by emotional management is we have to learn how to identify and clear negative emotions when they arise inside of us. The first thing that we're going to have to do is to learn how to manage our emotions in respect of other people. The second thing is we're going to have to learn how to self-manage our own emotions. And the third thing is we may need professional help to do either of those. But the bottom line is we need to learn how to self-clear negative emotions. The second strategy is we have to manage our life. And that means we're going to have to learn how to ongoingly manage situations in our life and change situations which are perpetuating or causing stress. So that could be anything that happens to us or things that we're doing to ourselves. But we could call that life management. The third thing is we're going to have to work on our consciousness. We're going to have to transform our consciousness at a fundamental level. We're going to have to transform the deep-rooted patterns and habits which lead us to think and behave in a certain way. And in order to do that, we have to do what is called cultivating positive virtues, and we have to transform our patterns of consciousness. And the fourth thing is that we need to really work on our spirit and our fun and our purpose. Because if we don't have life enjoyment and life fulfillment, that is going to create a certain level of stress and dissatisfaction inside of us, because we're here to be happy and to fulfill our purpose, whatever that is. It's our job to find out what that is. And if we don't do that, if we're going against our life purpose and our true self, that is going to create stress. So we have these 4 core strategies, if you like, of managing our emotions, manage our life, manage our consciousness, and be on purpose. So if we look at a few examples of what I mean by these strategies, for example, emotional management. When we're talking about emotional management with other people, we have to learn how to identify what we're feeling, express what we're feeling, communicate the truth of how we're feeling, share our feelings, speak our truth, be authentic, create boundaries, everything that goes with the authentic me technique. And that is just one example. There's more that I could put here, but it's a core example in the Emotional Alchemy Academy. So we need to be able to do that. Then very importantly, alongside that, we have to learn how to self-process our own emotions. There is no getting away from this if we want to progress on our path of emotional and self-mastery. We've got to learn how to self-process our own feelings. And that is fully covered in the level 1 and level 2 trainings and the Manage, Clear and Transform Emotions trainings. And they're big trainings because it takes a lot of skill and practice to learn how to self-process our emotions. The third thing is we may need help. We may need some help sometimes to deal with our emotions. And so, a professional therapist, skilled in helping people deal with their emotions will help them to do that. And that is very useful. However, these two previous levels of managing emotions by oneself and also knowing how to deal with emotions with other people are absolutely critical as well. So just going to a therapist is, and using specific tools is not going to solve all our emotional problems. Then we need to look at life management. And that means that we have to have awareness of everything that is creating stress and negative emotions on a daily basis, on a moment-to-moment basis. We need to be making sure that we're leading a balanced life on a daily basis and balancing our life and doing anything that is taking away stress and increasing calm. We have to make certain habit changes. For example, if we have a habit of back-to-backing our appointments, which creates stress, then we're going to have to change that habit. If we have a habit of going to bed really late and not getting enough sleep, then we're going to have to change that habit. These are lifestyle changes which really come under the banner of what is called lifestyle medicine. And lifestyle medicine is the act of creating your own medicine by managing your own life and your lifestyle habits and choices. And again, that can only be done by us through the awareness, first of all, of, well, what is it that is creating stress for me? And what is it that I need to change? And what am I willing to commit to changing? And how much energy and time am I willing to put into this to make these changes? And then the third thing, working on consciousness. There are many ways of doing this, but one of the best ways that I've come across and what I teach people is the One Gong practices, where especially Tong Wan, Ling Wan, where we're working to cultivate our heart consciousness, we're working to change the patterns of consciousness deeply embedded in our psyche. These are practices that we learn and then we practice, and as we do so, then we are uplifting and transforming our consciousness in a positive way. But again, it requires us learning the practices and then implementing them, and the only person that can do that is us. So all of this, as you can see, it requires a lot of self-discipline and self-motivation and commitment and time and energy, because we've got to want to do it. And the last thing is the fun, spirit, purpose. Well, that comes up, that really entails, our social life, our personal life, our spiritual growth. It encompasses everything that I've talked about so far anyway, but it's about being in tune with ourselves and being connected with our true self and finding out what that is and learning how to follow our true self and to be in tune with our true self so that we know why we're here on this planet and what is our purpose, and are we following our purpose, and if we get off track, how do we bring ourselves back on track? And that is a personal development journey in itself. So we have these 4 approaches and these 4 strategies, and if we do all of those, then we're going to start to see success in restoring our natural state of peace and inner calm. That's it in a nutshell. A very brief overview of the different roads which lead to inner calm. And if I just go back to where we were at the beginning, we have the 4 core overriding approaches of the awareness and the stress and desire to change a stress habit. We need to reduce the self-harm, increase the calm, and regular consistent application. And then we have the 4 approaches of emotional management, life management, working on the consciousness, and being on track, being on purpose. So those are the things that we need to do. These are the different roads that lead to Rome, that lead to a restoration of peace and calm.